All right, ladies and gentlemen, it all comes down to this. Welcome to the finals of Pro Play Tour Orlando. I'm Alex Simo, joined by Joseph Rothschild here, and we have, well, you already know it's the first deck. We saw it on our top 4 feature match. It is Jeremy Mitchell playing his Endymion Orcust list, which
is amazing.
It is
by
amazing.
The way.
Yeah,
incredible build.
And he's so proficient with the deck too, able to just turbo through plays, no problem.
You love to see fast pendulum players.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's going to be going up against none other than, in my opinion, the best deck of the format, Sky Striker.
Nicholas Ortiz is a person that we had on yesterday, and it's nice to see him in finals, apparently having one out since we last checked in.
Yeah, I mean, watching him play Striker yesterday was a treat because I mean he was on point with everything. He's played the deck for a very long time. I was talking with him a little bit, and I mean I expect this to be a very good match.
I got to see the bitter end of his previous match against the Lunalight Orcust player. He swept it up in a 2-0, if I'm not mistaken. What ended up happening was the very last turn of the game. Of course, it's Striker, and he was massively ahead with a bunch of set cards. His opponent makes a Tornado Dragon, attacks. Nicholas activates YuGiOh Anchor, chains Tornado Dragon to destroy his own tanky, then activates Evenly Matched. Nicholas calmly smiles and sends a Lancia to the graveyard.
Wow.
It was excellent.
Wow. All right, so with that introduction, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the finals. All right, so the time has begun. Judge is giving them the last call there. 40 minutes.
So how much hinges on this die roll?
A lot.
Yeah, I expect so.
I feel like it hinders. Who do you think doesn't care about the die roll as much? I think Nicholas.
I think Jeremy doesn't care at all about the die roll.
Yeah, I feel like.
Certainly it matters because he can set up and win. But similarly, I think the Orcust half of his deck has no problem going second.
But Striker is kicking things off.
Ooh, okay.
That's a very big deal. So that means that if there is a game 3, Nicholas will be able to be on the play here.
And more importantly, he has ripped a Ray off of the area 0.
That's a good one. What'd he send?
Almost as good as Engage.
Yes. So getting Ray and effectively
sending a spell to the graveyard.
Yeah, also pretty good. If you see Ray or Engage, if you're Sky Striker, you feel pretty good about it. Desires immediately coming down.
Oh, wow. Love Desires in this deck. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but the trade-off between potentially banishing like your second or third copy of YuGiOh Anchor versus having another spell in the graveyard and gas in your hand, you can't pass it up.
Now, interesting here. Nicholas, I mean, firing off Desires, the one downside is that if you banish that one multi-roll, your recursion is stifled
Let's see it come down. Nah.
Now, Nicholas could already have the multi-roll in hand. Maybe that's why he felt comfortable immediately firing off that Desires. But again, like I said, he's been playing this deck for quite some time. So we're going to have to see how this plays out.
With second area 0, well, you do what you have to do to get to Engage.
All right, so set 2, tag out for Shizuku. And that's what it looks like. So he is going to get that Engage. Jeremy obviously not playing any hand traps whatsoever.
So this isn't a very good start.
No.
I mean, it's fine, but there's nothing super exciting about it.
One card in Nicholas's hand, so you could probably assume that's either a hand trap or a redundant card that you don't need.
Or maybe he's extremely greedy and it's the second Engage.
That could be possible as well.
I've done that and then immediately lost.
Now, one of the advantages of Jeremy's deck as well, and I'm going to double check to see that he is playing this here. He is playing the Abyss Dweller, and Abyss Dweller is very significant with Ray.
It's fine.
If you're not playing Call by the Grave, just to be able to, if you can just manage to OTK and make it Dweller in addition to that, that's just like free.
And of course, Ray, if your Pendulum is usually activating the damage step, and boy, it's really good to be able to negate damage step effects with Dweller.
So Jeremy starting with Servant here. I mean, no complaints. We got Chronograph also being popped to bring out a Time Gazer.
So that's 1 on Servant.
Yes. And again, remember, Endymion has Mighty Master of Magic at its disposal, and that is a very difficult card for Striker to out in some circumstances.
It's quite strong, but it's not game-ending. There are circumstances in which it walks away with the game, but there are ones where I feel as if Endymion is already massively ahead.
So Time Gazer hits the field. Also of note, Jeremy is playing that one copy. Ooh, that's big.
Wow.
That's going to put Servant immediately to 3 counters, and he gets to search for either Jackal King or Endymion.
We talked about this a little bit yesterday, but Spell Power Mastery has got to be one of the most back-breakingly strong cards in the format. Not only, of course, does it count as a spell counter for all of the spell counter cards that Pendulum is now playing, but it puts one on everything, and it searches one of the best cards in the game, or even a scale.
Yeah, Servant plus Spell Power Mastery is such a strong opening.
And
now
of
we
course,
see
you can activate them in the opposite order.
So what's interesting is that Impermanence is being used on the Time Gazer, and that's going to negate the Servant in the column.
That is very interesting.
Nicholas being very cognizant of putting both of his spell or trap cards in the zones where the pendulum scales would rest just for a situation like this.
And seasoned players will know to do this. Nicholas, of course, is pretty good at this deck, I've heard. Setting bluffs in the pendulum zones is similarly powerful. It makes your opponent play around potential infinite impermanences even when they don't exist. In this case, it paid off.
I'm sure Jeremy's turn isn't done yet.
Oh, of course not.
But, I mean,
Is that an Apex Avian in hand?
I believe so.
Ooh, the hand's actually not great outside of this pendulum call. If there's an Ash, oh, and there's
no
not.
Ash. Jeremy is going to pitch that Mighty Master of Magic that he added off the Spell Power Mastery here. So we're going to get the Dragon Pit. Now this is good because now with Dragon Pit, he can just easily pick off the other back row, not worry about whatever that may be. He still might have to worry about a potential hand trap in Nicholas's hand, which is fine, but just being able to reduce any likelihood of his Pendulum Summon being thwarted is just very good for Jeremy in this case.
So think of a scenario in which that Pendulum Call doesn't resolve. You see something like an Ash. Suddenly, Jeremy's stuck on an Apex Avian and one additional card, which has to be a scalar he loses. As of now, this Pendulum Call enables him to go into Heavy Metal Foe's Electromite, pop the card that's currently being negated if he so desires, get whatever he wants to his hand, and then perform an unbelievable Pendulum Summon that includes an Apex Avian.
So here comes Electromite. Such a strong card.
A long think from Nicholas, trying to represent the apparently.
Does he have another?
Nah, it's multi-roll.
Widow Anchor.
Widow Anchor. I've done that every single match today.
So Widow Anchor is going to not only negate the Electromite, but it's going to steal it to Nicholas's board. He has no more back row, so he's not worried about any other multiple copies of Widow Anchor. So
here's why I kind of like the play to reset Area 0 over Area 0. Getting 3 cards in the graveyard specifically for Widow Anchor is a little bit telegraphed, but in this particular instance, not only negates Electromite, but denies Jeremy access to the zones.
Yes, and that's honestly almost more important than Electromite's effect, because having your Pendulum Summon just be that much more potent, I think is critical in a matchup like this.
He spent the entire turn sculpting a hand that would facilitate a huge Pendulum Summon from the extra deck. Now there's not much left. I think I saw, a Master Cerberus and an Apex Avian? That's terrible.
Jeremy's face is not looking too kind here.
He's kind of shaking his head a little bit.
Yeah, he's very frustrated with how things have played out here, but we'll have to see. Has he...
Dragon Pit comes down.
Has he normal summoned yet?
He has. He normal summoned the purple Poison Magician to make Heavy Metal
He
for
did.
his Electromite.
Okay, so that's already off the table, too.
He's got 1 Pendulum Monster remaining in the hand. Are we discarding what?
I believe he has Scales here.
That's okay, but makes a defense position purple poison?
Well, he does have Shizuku's Arrow.
Oh, you're right.
So that does mean he can summon 2.
And a quick look at the opponent's graveyard. Yep, there's a Ray in there. We are far past 3, and there's a Ray.
Shizuku, also keep in mind, will be powering down all of Jeremy's monsters by 400. Not the most relevant effect, but at times...
Oh, no, it's very relevant.
For times with, like, Abyss Dweller, let's say, you know, if you're trying to make sure that Ray doesn't come back. All right, so we're going to see a pen summon here. Chronograph.
Sure.
And Purple Poison.
Okay.
Maybe something from his hand as well?
Are we seeing the Apex Avian? Yeah.
Probably, yes.
You got to get it out of your hand.
Oh, the Harmonizing. That's big.
The remaining Magician in hand is Harmonizing.
That's very strong. Harmonizing going to go ahead and give us that +1. Such an amazing card.
Good call, chat. He can't Dragon Pit without a Magician in Scales.
Oh, correct. Well, I mean, he doesn't have any cards left to pop anyway, so it wouldn't matter.
It's been so long since I've had to read Dragon Pit. Okay.
Here was another Purple Poison.
Can he assemble an OTK through this? It's potentially 3 monsters?
Seems
unlikely.
I feel like he can. There might be a way.
The Mist Valley Apex Avian is super critical right here. But everything else is just kind of cake.
It's tough.
So,
where
do we go from here? We don't have cards in hand for the Orcust to play.
No. So that's off the table. Is there a way that
the arrows aren't good for the Guard Dragon play.
He plays Triple Burst, right?
Yeah.
Do you just make Triple Burst just to kill Shizuku and then have Apex to negate Engage?
That might be all right.
I mean, it's not the best, but it kind of...
Is it good? No. Does it prevent Ray from coming back and ensure you don't lose to Engage? Yes.
Which, at that point, you're just worried about Nicholas's last unknown card and the card he draws for turn. If you can set up one...
and the Area 0 effect.
That's true. That's another big one.
It's a hard position to be in,
It is.
sure.
It's tough. There's a lot to manage here.
Obviously, the optimal line is just to OTK, but finding those is so hard.
At that point, if you can't OTK, you just have to set up as much negation as possible.
So one thing that I'm not super excited about in terms of Endymion Orcust is the extra deck likely doesn't have very much room for flexibility. You know, the Guard Dragon half of the deck requires like 3 to 4 cards in the extra. The Orcust effect, the Orcust half of the deck requires 3 to 4 cards in the extra. Pendulum requires 3 to 4 cards in the extra. Things like Heavy Metal Foes Electromite, Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. So you don't have probably much room for things like Nightmare Phoenix, random links that are pretty good. You kind of have to devote them to exclusively engine pieces, which means that trying to cobble together something here is probably not going to work particularly well.
Looks like Jeremy's going to link for 3 here, banishing that purple poison that was special summoned off the Harmonizing.
It's just like, there's not really a good target outside of maybe Triple Burst.
YuGiOh.
Yeah,
is
YuGiOh
he
is
going to
okay.
try to OTK?
No, YuGiOh is a reasonable backup play. I mean, it adds cards back from your graveyard. Does he have any? Did he discard one for Pend Call? It looks like we're just going to combat.
He discarded the Mighty Master of Magic for it. Ugh.
So,
It's rough.
Unfortunately, YuGiOh is 4 down, which means that it will trade with Shizuku. And he says, okay, I'll trade.
So they're
I'm
going to
fine with
trade.
that. It's going to activate the Ray effect here.
We're also going to get the Endymion back.
What if we Orcust post combo? Post battle
I
phase
mean,
discard it?
that could be a play.
Oh, tell me that's the line. Because if it is genius.
So Avian's
He's
going to
force out the
over
Ray here.
Yeah,
Well, we do have to activate it. I
of
think.
course.
Very not pretty. We go into Hayate, maybe?
Just to
Kagari
send
might be
another
okay.
Kinda. That works.
Yeah, sort of. You can ram into it with purple poison.
It's tough. Oh, is he using the Apex? Okay.
To prevent the attack prevention.
Okay.
Fine.
So
And
main
we're
phase
going to main
two.
phase 2.
Yeah, no damage.
Oh, wow. And we're just making the Orcust combo, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going into
Oh.
Boral Guard? Borload?
Boral
Savage Dragon.
Borload Savage Dragon.
He says, how does this work? All right, you can have
Gets
your
his Electromite back.
Draws for turn.
Okay.
And this is not the worst scenario in the world for Nicholas.
He can negate engage with the Borload Savage Dragon. So this effectively accomplishes like where we were at.
Yeah. Provided the card that he drew isn't exactly Area 0, it's very possible, of course, that he could still pop off with whatever he finds off of the effect.
Jamming
Whoa.
Wave,
Targeting
pop his own card.
spell. You gotta negate this, unfortunately.
That's rough.
But you don't want to because you'd prefer he pops his own spell unless it's Heavy Metal Foes Fusion. Normal Metal Foes Fusion. I have Electromite Brain.
He's
he
going
says,
to negate
fine.
it. That's
You've
tough.
won, I'll negate it.
There's the
And
engage.
there's the engage.
Yeah.
The little smile out of Jeremy. Should have let it resolve. But also, you can't.
Talk about heads-up play, though, from Nicholas. The fact that he set the engage and targeted it with...
Just no fear out of him.
That's confidence.
Yeah. And I mean, if you show even one bit of hesitation, he goes, oh, he's making a determination of if losing engage is better than jamming wave. Instead, Nicholas is just like, boom, boom, it's fusion. Don't worry.
You got to admire that.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty next level.
We're going to get to draw here. Wow. Things are looking great for Nicholas.
Yeah.
I mean, as well they should. He did win the die roll. This is a scenario he wants to end
I
up
was
in.
going to say, I feel like he was already favored as soon as that happened.
Yeah.
It wasn't impossible for Jeremy to come back from this, but Nicholas just seemed to have all the right answers. But he played very well. The impermanence in the far right column. You know, he knows the matchup. He knows where he needs to use his cards, and I feel like this isn't like a free win by any stretch. Jeremy's one of the best Pendulum players out there.
Yeah.
And so that's why I feel like this is going to be a good match. So here comes Kagari.
Hey,
Gets
that's pretty
another
good.
engage.
Scoop him up, Jeremy.
Jeremy just
you gotta get to
shaking
game
his
2
head.
here.
I agree. I feel like you have to go to game 2.
We're going to get to activate, 2 more engages? Obscene.
Yeah, I feel like at this point Nicholas is just going to slowly pick apart Jeremy's board. Savage Dragon's offline now, so you don't have to worry about that. I mean, Jeremy still has Scales and a Servant.
Did you just add Widow Anchor?
I mean...
No respect.
I just feel like Nicholas is going to have full control at this point.
We get Afterburner here.
At least Jeremy's get to build up a lot of counters on Servant.
Whoa. Oh, that's got to be rough
It's
to
something.
see from Jeremy's perspective. Like, oh, really? I'm either dead this turn or you already have the removal spell? Sure. Where's the multi-roll? It's got to be banished for Desires.
It's possible.
Give me your Heavy Metal Foes Electromite. We're going into Kana, baby.
He can go into Ningirsu, actually.
Ooh, tell me that's what we're going to do.
No, it's Hita. Okay.
Hita. I said Kana.
I think that's what you meant.
They're all the same for me.
Yeah. Here comes drones, make the token. Hita gets the Electromite back.
And we're going to make Shizuku.
Shizuku.
That's what?
Oh, now do we see it? Oh, Boral Sword?
5?
Boral Sword?
Firewall, Dark Fluid.
Boral Sword.
Yep, there he is.
There he is. We just need a ray.
Jeremy says, am I dying?
Oh, even better.
I
I'm just going to take your own Boral Sword and kill you with it, plus
Wow.
Boral Sword.
Aggro Sky Striker.
Wow.
He saw that line immediately.
No hesitation.
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
That was some heads-up play.
That was.
And you've also got cards that do literally nothing in this matchup. Things like Shark Cannon aren't particularly powerful.
I mean, Shark, is he playing the, he's not playing Utopia double package, is he?
No.
Okay, I was going to say, because we were playing against Pendulum, and if they get to the graveyard and you're playing a bunch of level 4s, I mean, that's pretty good.
They're getting to the graveyard of what? They're making a Tornado Dragon or something?
Yeah, or Dweller or something, yeah. But Jeremy making Nicholas go first.
Oh, man. Really?
This is interesting.
I don't know about that. Well, I mean, if you're in Jeremy's perspective, Nicholas has just boarded in a ton of cards that do absolutely nothing to you. And you now are free to board into exceptionally powerful cards like Danko Seka, your other Secret Village, these evenly matched that Sky Striker have kind of a hard time dealing with. You know that Jeremy won't have the Lancias for Game 2 because there's no way he would board into them going first. I don't know. It is a little heads up.
Can I just admire how quickly Nicholas is playing through this turn?
Oh, he knows exactly what he wants to do, and
Yeah.
we've got 21 minutes left. He's a control deck.
Kept the bell in.
Ooh, did keep the bell in and did find the engage.
Hit the engage.
Always.
The reactions from both the players.
He's just, oh, yeah, it is Striker.
Remember that top 16 match where we had 4 or 5 whiffs off of Area 0? That was incredible.
That was some sort of karma.
Yeah,
That was because he was playing against Jeff.
that's true.
Jeff has a mystical aura.
The gods were on his side. Gage coming down. I mean, Nicholas is going to just have everything he could want in this situation. However,
Multi-roll this time, too. He won that last game without multi-roll.
yeah.
It had to be Desires
Now,
banished.
I will say that if Jeremy does open a Denko,
It's good.
it's very good. And I feel like it could be the deciding factor in whether or not Jeremy wins this. Not that it's impossible without it, but Denko could just be the equalizer that he needs to just completely take over at this point.
Yeah, Danko is Dark Ruler no more, but for Sky Striker.
Yeah, essentially.
So now we're going to multi-roll. We're going to engage for 18. Jeremy just shaking his head. Yeah, go off. We know what you're doing.
Get that Eagle booster to protect your Shizuku.
The frustrating thing is it's not even like a Solemn Warning or Solemn Judgment where there's a window of opportunity after the Danko is normal summoned to prevent it from hitting the board. Once that thing is on field, you can't Widow Anchor it.
There's Shizuku.
See if we're going to set any cards here before we shuffle. Yeah. 1, 2, and he's telegraphing an impermanence there in that far column by setting it in a different zone and then moving it over. It's going to be really heads up if it turns out to not be an impermanence and the one on the far right is the impermanence. Oh, adding an engage.
Wow.
Such a greedy play, but I love it.
Honestly, okay, if you're Nicholas, you're game up.
If you have everything on your side of the board, you might as well roll for the high.
It's an Apex Avian.
Apex Avian.
Where's the Denko?
Oh, and just shotgun there can be only one.
Okay, you know what? Again, and he
Not
also
only shotgun be only one.
Eagle
Shotgun,
booster.
Eagle booster.
You know what? That is so heads up from Nicholas. Just pretty much ensuring that he's just not going to just take any risks.
Whoa, and for what it's worth, it's paid off. Jeremy's sitting on a Secret Village of the Spellcasters.
That's pretty significant.
Wow. All right.
Now, Jeremy, just thinking here. There's a Garuda, a Village, an Avian, I think a Cerberus, maybe? Was that a Curtain Raiser? Okay, so kicking things off with Cerberus. I feel like that's fine. If Nicholas had an Ash there, that would have just been like
The end
maybe
of the game.
just game over. Yeah.
Imagine drawing that hand and having an Ash. Absurd. Good catch, chat. We'll set the Garuda. Go for the set card. Garuda is pretty good in this specific instance.
You're going to see a Widow Anchor being used here on the Shizuku. Just, use all your spells on Shizuku. Why not?
Go for it.
Yeah.
Now you might as well activate it so that you can reset off of multi-roll at the end of the turn. A little confirmation as to why that's being done.
Yep.
And a check on Garuda. Does Garuda prevent activation? There's no way. That'd be so good.
I don't know. I'm sure the chat will tell us.
Well, chat is telling us the Garuda is trash.
Oh.
How dare you? Okay, well, there's Darkworm.
To start.
It's a good thing that they hit the Widow Anchor.
Yeah.
Wow.
If there's any normal summon you want to have that's not Denko, it's probably Darkworm.
Yeah. Ideally you want to be reborning Darkworm, but normal summoning it, it's still just Stratus.
Okay, so Jackal and the Scale.
All right. And we'll get back the Garuda or the Cerberus, whatever you desire. Going for Cerberus, and then Link summoning a Heavy Metal Foes Electromite. There can be only one is interesting, but I don't know what it really prevents.
Yeah, what's fascinating is that there are a lot of spellcasters in this deck, but there's also a lot of just monsters of other types as well.
Yeah.
So it hurts, but I don't think it's the worst.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to see a Gate 0. We're going to Electromite, bring that Servant back to hand, I believe. He's going to draw a card from Electromite's effect. Is that an Aether that he drew?
It looks like an Allure of Darkness.
Oh, okay, Allure.
Does he have a good target for Allure? We have Servant,
I don't think he
Apex
wants-
Avian.
Apex is a win. I think Servant's a dark, but I don't think he wants to. Actually, I don't know if Servant's a dark, actually. Even so, he doesn't want to banish Servant. Oh,
Right.
Harmonizing. Okay.
Harmonizing it is.
Actually, I don't think he can use Servant under There Could Be Only One,
That
because
is
they're
correct.
all spellcasters, right? Yeah,
Okay.
There's Village.
You know what would be hilarious? If in response we were able to destroy a Speller Trap with like a Typhoon and could just prevent setting scales for the remainder of the game.
So Jackal King, Darkworm.
That's Dragon. Oh, what is Jackal King? A Spellcaster?
I think it's Spellcaster, and Apex Avian's a
Ooh,
wing
this is
beast.
about as good as a There Can Be Only One board can get.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good, but if it doesn't beat Nicholas right now, we are going to see 2 engages activated at the very start of next turn.
No spell counters on that Jackal King of note.
Oh, is that true? You can activate
Oh,
Servant,
no, he has Servants.
but you have to send it immediately?
Oh, is that how it works? Oh, okay.
That's interesting.
He has the spell counters on Servant, so he actually can negate the Ray here.
Ugh, annoying.
Okay, so Avian attacks over Shizuku, but everything he can't be destroyed by battle because of
Right,
the Eagle
he's just going to
Booster.
get in for like,
Right.
what, fractions of points?
Yeah, it's how many spells does he have engraved?
Oh, please show us. Please, Nicholas, here are please.
I think he had like 5 or 6,
Yeah, it looked like 5.
maybe
Oh, we could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6. Okay, so that means Apex Avian's 21. So he took 600, and then
then the
Jackal
Jackal
King is
King.
so like 300
Yeah.
from Jackal King. Again, that's
You're
like
just going to have to roll with it in terms of Sky Striker life points. He took very little.
yeah. The number might be 100 or a few hundred off.
To those of you saying he Widow Anchored the Shizuku, it was under Eagle Booster.
It was under Eagle Booster. He shotgunned the Eagle Booster when he shotgunned the There Can Be Only One.
Kalara Rushko, 1 time. All right, so now how do we out Secret Village?
Well, it's tough too because you can't even make like Phoenix to out it because you just lose to the
Apex Avian.
or the Jackal King.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Area 0. Whiffs.
Hey,
3
there's
traps.
the Typhoon.
3 traps.
That would do it.
How often do you see 3 traps being revealed in a striker deck?
Once. This is the first time. To those of you saying make Phoenix with Ray and Shizuku, no. There's still a
Here's
Miss Valley
Bell.
Apex Avian, and there's a negation out of the Jackal King. We have to make like a spellcaster. Bell is not a spellcaster. She's a zombie.
Bella's a...
No, she's a...
Ooh.
Is she a spellcaster? Oh, I'm looking it up.
Ogre's a psychic. Ash is a zombie.
Yeah. She's a small child.
Well, whatever it is, I don't think he'd be playing it if he... Obviously, it's not a machine. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Bella's zombie, evidently.
Why are 2 of them zombie and 1 isn't?
Well,
Konami, explain.
It's okay. You know, you can E-Telly Ogre. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so Apex Avian. He's going to use that to bounce. He's going to bounce. Oh, what did I miss? What did he bounce?
Yeah, I
did he bounce
was looking up.
the field spell?
Oh, he did.
Okay. So here's Phoenix. He's going to negate Phoenix with Jackal King.
As expected.
Yep.
Okay.
Do we have a follow-up?
Time for the remainder of this turn. Oh, and there goes the Phoenix.
Orcust combo.
Yeah.
Story of the weekend, but no, not in Striker. Yeah, Jackal King's going to resolve, destroys the Phoenix, negates the effects. Secret Village is still alive. Jeremy might have swung this around.
He negated the field spell's effect to summon Ray from deck.
Oh, that's what he... Okay.
Yep.
Oh, because he multi-rolled
Multi-rolled
the
the
areas
field,
here? Okay. Secret Village.
Secret Village, looking like Imperial Order in that matchup.
I mean, Nicholas's hand, his starter was ridiculous.
To those of you saying, why not booster it, there's a Secret Village on the field. Come on.
And game 3. This is exciting, though.
I am so excited.
This has been a good weekend.
For sure.
We've had a lot of really good matches. And,
Good weekend heads-up duels. It's nice to see good players in their element.
We had so much variety, too. Yeah, and I think the fact that we're ending on these 2 decks, like, you got the best deck and you have, like, one of, like, the best decks, you know, it's fitting. There was a lot of, like, Cinderella stories that people were rooting for.
For sure.
I think it was a very monumental event.
And we got to talk to Jeff.
You know, the chat got to talk to Jeff.
Yeah, that's the important
You know,
part.
we got to enlighten everyone with Jeff. Make their Sundays extra special. Here we go. There's a Denko Sekka in Jeremy's hand.
I see it. Oh, man.
Oh, I'm excited. Nicholas made Jeremy
go
first.
What is happening?
Man.
To any of you saying we're in a combo format, I present to you this following game in which the winner has elected to go second, despite playing radically disparate strategies twice.
Okay. So, and let's just keep in mind that Jeremy opened Endymion Spell Power Mastery, which is one of the strongest openings this deck has.
Woof.
2 counters on Servant instantly. I'm trying to get a glimpse of Nicholas's hand there. He's keeping it pretty far off.
Whoa. Sesko, you better not be lying to me. Oh, wait, you are, because we have the lists. Typhoon the Servant. That's pretty good.
I think that's very correct.
Look at this. Look at this hand from Jeremy. It's got like no cards in
He
it.
just drew a Dark Worm. He has a lure.
Dark Worm kind of unlocks the hand, but there was already a Dragon
Shrine, so it doesn't really do a whole lot. Ooh.
Ooh, yeah, this is kind of gross.
Wow. Could that Typhoon have just... I don't want to say it sealed it up, but I think it definitely gave Nicholas a fighting chance.
I mean, it helped a lot.
It definitely helped.
All right, so now we start counting for Nibiru. Chat, we need one last Nibiru count from you. So far, we're on 0. This hand is nuts. It's got 2 ways to get Dark Worm, and then not a ton else. There's a Denko and an Allure.
Yeah, so Shrine. You could send Destrudo, because you have Dark Worm already.
Yeah.
There's a possibility.
I don't think he's even playing Destrudo.
No. Oh, is he not? No. Oh, okay.
So we can just normal summon the second one. Then we go into Utopia Double.
And you attack going first in the battle phase? I like it.
Attack directly with Utopia Double as well.
That too, yeah. So let's see where he goes. He has another Allure. Okay, that could unlock a lot. That was a Pendulum Monster.
That was 2 Pendulum Monsters.
I think it's
a purple poison and another Dark Worm. We drew the 3rd Dark Worm.
Oh, no.
Fine. That's okay.
I mean, I think you can still get there. Maybe?
Yeah, that's fine.
There's a second. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. 3 Dark Worms on the screen for you.
And it's just thinking, it's like, no, I can't do that. I mean, it's not great.
Going to banish Purple Poison instead there.
And Nicholas says, yeah, whatever. Oh, where do we go from here? Normal, well, you do what you gotta.
I mean, luckily, it's any
we
two
have the
pendulums to
Veiler?
make Electromite.
Ooh,
Oh,
the Ogre.
even
That's
worse.
That is just about the same thing.
Yeah, actually, Ogre's a lot better. I mean, Jeremy can at least send something to possibly pendulum summon out. If
What's
he
in
can
the hand now?
finish
We got a
scales.
0 and a purple poison?
No, because he banished the purple, or did he have a second?
No,
purple
you're right.
poison?
He did,
He had
he did
Zenko.
banish it. 0 and Danko?
Is that is all that's left in his hand?
Oh, no. Is it 2 cards or 3 cards? It looks like 3.
There's a third. There must be something else.
If it's another scale, we might be fine.
Oh, it's
Master, yeah.
Okay, so he's got scales.
So we do have scales. We can special Jackal King and Danko if you so desire, but not very good.
Ending on Jackal King, that's so rough. Now, Nicholas is down to 4 cards in hand. He did have to use 2, but
You know, Striker has this 1 card.
it's called Engage.
Here it draws a lot. And he says, forget it. You can negate the effects.
So there's Rhoda. 4th Ray, effectively.
Is Endymion's effect going to trigger? Are we going to get to see it?
We almost did that one game.
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
Striker's so good. You can't help but feel a respect for this deck.
1 drones, 1 Kagari, 1 multi-roll. Still one of, if not the best deck in the format.
1 drones, 1 Kagari, 1 multi-roll, number 1 placement.
3 engage.
Yeah.
Let's just say that too.
Disclaimer.
So Ray going to tag out here. Not using its effect, by the way.
Going into Hayate.
Now this is interesting because...
and that prompts the negation.
That will negate.
Do you have it? He says, yeah, just negate it.
15 from the Hayate, first damage of the game.
And here goes the engaged graveyard. Yep.
Kagari will get it back. Now what's interesting here is Jeremy does have the Denko. So
if we go for a huge board and then we get a normal summon Danko, I mean,
like
that's something.
There might still be hope. Jeremy has scales too. I don't think Nicholas is going to be tearing apart those scales. Oh, he has Cosmic.
Well,
I
he
just
will.
spoke too soon. Yep. So Cosmic Cyclone, pay 1,000.
Caster's Curse for real.
Yep. It's going to engage now. Banish the Master specifically, which I like.
We're adding the Afterburners to hand. We're clearing the other scale as well.
Because Afterburner with 3 spells will pop this Jackal, take out the scale, leaving Jeremy with just that Denko in hand.
That Denko is going to look really good, though. Oh, yikes. And this is the problematic portion of pendulums. You know, if you're boarding into something like 6 answers, that's 6 fewer scales that you have. And in the event that your opponent is able to crack back and pop your scales, now you're looking at Danko and thinking, why did I do this?
Nicholas's hand was very good.
Oh, it was complete gas.
And Desires.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, my God.
Yes? Okay.
That's just...
Nicholas doing a great cosplay of every Striker player I've ever played. Whew.
Kudos to Nicholas, though. I mean, it's not over yet, but I mean...
he's played fantastically, not only this set, but every time we've had him on camera, and clearly for the entire tournament.
And it's such a great pace, too.
Yes.
Look how fast he's playing.
I mean, this is a deck that goes into time in Game 2 routinely.
Yeah.
And here he is just executing his combo, Game 3, like nothing's wrong, fast enough to not incur any sort of time penalty or be in danger of timing out.
There is only 4 minutes left in the round. I don't think that's going to be enough to matter.
He's 500 points ahead. Your last life point is your first. It looks like he just picked up his Desires pile as his deck. Happens.
It happens.
I've been there. It's a Spell Power Mastery and a Danko.
Doesn't get him there.
He passes it back, yeah. He says, I probably have 1 more turn to figure this out. Don't want to lock myself into a specific scale until I've drawn another card and see if I can find a pendulum.
Nicholas is just going to be so established at this point. It's going to be so hard because now he can get the multi-roll online.
That's a multi-roll post-Desires, by the way.
Yeah, so he can go and set up multiple Widow Anchors and just draw a ton of cards off Engage now. Not to mention, you know, time is a factor here. So I don't know how close our clock is to the actual clock, but if it's anywhere close,
should be pretty
Shark
good.
Cannon.
Says,
is he just going to Moral Sword?
Are we just doing this again?
Well, this is one of the reasons why Shark Cannon I feel like is still good to keep in, because if you can just steal any of their Link 2s or anything...
You can turn any advantageous position into an OTK, yeah.
Right, absolutely, and just close out the game entirely. Don't even worry about...
And Nicholas has had no hesitation doing this.
Absolutely. We saw how quickly he did it in the first game.
Yeah.
He does still need a monster, but he can easily get there with a popping of Area 0, which can be very easily done. He just needs another monster to fall.
He could go to Hita here too, right?
He could. Hita could resurrect the...
can you resurrect the Electromite? That seems pretty strong.
It's fire. I don't see why not.
If we've got like a drones in hand, that's enough.
It would be. There's Hita. Such a strong card. Not even for like fire-based decks. Just if there's fire monsters in the game, Hita is good.
It says, I will have your Electromite, please. We could even just go to combat.
That's 3650 right there.
Looking at the extra real quick.
If he pops... wait, is that game? Oh, no. Okay, so 3650. What I was going to say is if he popped his own Engage... Or, I'm sorry, not his Engage. If he popped his Area 0... Couldn't he just summon a Ray and then tag that Ray out into Hayate mid-combat? And wouldn't that have been game? Or am I missing something?
Oh, if you're missing something, I am too.
Bomber.
Sure. Why not?
I'm sure, if I'm missing something, I'm sure the chat will tell me, but I
can't
feel
tag
like
into a main monster zone.
Oh,
Thank you.
that's right. I knew I was missing something.
Oh, and he's resetting this copy of Shark Cannon so that we can activate Bomber's effect at instant speed.
Immediately shotgunning the Ego Booster as well.
So now we have to lead with a copy of Danko. And we have to be able to make a pendulum play. For what it's worth, an OTK is maybe possible, but there's so many hoops he has to jump through.
Jeremy's just looking. Did we see what he draw? Or what he drew?
Reading Bomber real quick. Yeah, it's a good card.
Yeah, it's a board wipe. Mandatory board wipe, let's say.
Nicholas is on some revolver stuff. And just thinking with 30 seconds left, there's just nothing you can do with your back against the wall like this.
It's tough. Both these players fought hard to get here, but... Jeremy just looking for any out at this point.
I don't think there is one.
Checking the extra deck.
Spell Power Grasp's effectiveness, of course, goes way down as you burn through your spell counter pendulum monsters. It no longer searches scales. So time should be any second now. We may be a little bit off, but, you know, a win for Jeremy Mitchell requires him to go to battle phase with an advantageous board position, and I don't know how he's going to assemble one. Well, there's the Mastery.
I'm curious where he's going to try to go with this.
And what's left?
Another Servant. It's unfortunate that he can't really capitalize on that.
Looks at the graveyard real quick. Yeah, all that's in there is the Electromite, which, of course, if I do anything to try and get back, is going to immediately be Shark Cannoned. You're going to have to lead with the Danko if you want to make anything happen, and that eats your normal.
Here's Servant coming down.
Yep.
Dragon Pit.
He says, how about this? Is it all right? Nicholas says, yeah, sure, of course.
Might see a pen summon here. Now, what's interesting, he can't summon to Topologic Bomber's zone, but it would just force the nuke.
It's not a great idea, but he could do it.
He could do it.
Is there anything that floats in here?
I was about to say, is there some super next level play that you would want to do that?
Quick shake of the head again. I mean, what are you trying to special here? Something in defense position, maybe? Jackal King's not a terrible decision.
It's not enough, though. Bomber can just eat over it.
Those of you in chat saying Bomber isn't once per turn, that's correct. Have you ever seen the anime?
Summon Servant in defense. Ooh.
It's a defense position monster in an extra monster zone. You know, that does beat Topologic for a turn, except Topologic does burn damage as well, and then anything wins, and he says, I'll just take your monster.
That's
and a
it.
handshake.
And Nicholas Ortiz is your Pro Play Tour Orlando champion.
Wow. I mean, what do you say about that match? Both players played exceptionally well, but Nicholas walked with it through a series of increasingly heads-up plays and consistent composure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think both players played that very well. I mean, there may have been an opening for Jeremy to take that game one, possibly, but it's
hard to call.
And everything in retrospect is 2020, right? So it's very difficult to say. The players under tremendous pressure. There's so much going on, and they're playing for some big money. And ultimately, Nicholas, I mean, we saw him in his feature match yesterday, played exceptionally well. Here was no different. I mean, we saw how easily he was able to execute. He was playing Sky Striker I would say almost perfectly.
Yeah, I could not have identified a misplay, even with perfect information.
Yeah,
I know I wouldn't have been able to do
for sure.
that.
And this just continues to show why Sky Striker continues to be one of the strongest decks in the format. But, Jeremy, kudos to him as well. He played well both last match in the top 4 as well as this match.
And an incredible tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he had to make it all the way here, fighting tooth and nail through Nibiru's. He told me he was just going through Nibiru after Nibiru all day, but he was still able to recover, get all the way to the finals, just didn't go his way. But that doesn't mean Endymion is not a strong deck by any means. We're starting to see the rise of this more pure Endymion in the meta now. I'd say even more so than like the Magician variant, excuse me.
And once you see the answers to incredibly powerful combo decks in the form of Nibiru becoming more and more popular, the decks that can play around them, like the Endymion variant of Pendulums, are going to increasingly become popular as well.
For sure. So, guys, that's going to do it. We're going to see if we can maybe get an interview with the winner, and then I'm not exactly sure what we have coming up after that. I'm not sure if we're going to be doing any other coverage, but we will go ahead and get that checked out for you. We'll see if we get an interview with the winner. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. All right, guys, we are back with more coverage of Pro Play Tour Orlando with our first place winner, Nicholas Lopez. Congratulations, my friend.
Ortiz, but yeah.
Ortiz, sorry. My apologies. Nicholas Ortiz. So, how did you feel about that?
I felt pretty good. Pendulum was probably one of the scarier decks to deal with this deck, and Florida has a bunch of Pendulum players.
Does
so, yeah, I decided to side Typhoon for the event because I know people were starting to go to the Nibiru package.
Sure.
Now that like Nibiru is a relevant card. So I put Typhoons in to deal with the Secret Village, and then right before they play the spell card for the third counter on Servant, you can chain the Typhoon, which happened in Game 3.
Right.
Which just completely, almost always blow them out because the big Endymion guy is like almost impossible for Striker to deal with. But yeah, overall the deck performed really well.
Yeah.
Jeremy's also like an amazing player.
Of course.
Game 2, I thought I had it in the bag. I had like there can be only one. I had reset. I was like, I'm good. I have a bell in hand. He breaks the entire board. I misplayed a little bit. Maybe should have held the bell. See if he negated the area 0 because the goal there was to make Phoenix no effect, normal the bell, and then make Hida to turn spells back on.
For sure.
But I did a little backwards.
Yeah, no, we were just commenting on just how proficiently you were playing. How long have you been playing the deck for?
God, so I played Invoke Striker when like Striker first came out.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah, that's way back.
In like July of that year, I picked up Striker.
So you've been playing it for a while then.
Yeah,
for sure. So I mean, I think it definitely shows just like how much practice you've had with the deck, just being able to identify just when you can OTK, when you need to push, when you don't. I think that very well showed in your feature match. What was your favorite match of the whole tournament?
Oh God.
If you could pick one.
That finals was pretty good.
Was it?
I played Ezekiel. He got top 16.
Yeah.
That was fun solely the fact like how funny it was because I didn't play a single card that entire match. So that was kind of Ezekiel villaged me twice and I didn't have any outs. So that was pretty enjoyable. But I think that finals was actually really good.
Yeah, I thought so too, and a lot of the fans appreciated it as well. So I don't want to keep you. Congratulations, as always, and hopefully we'll see you in the Invitational in January.
All right, thank you.
Sure. $10,000 on the line. So.
I hope so.
Yeah.
All right, have a good one.
Yep, guys, don't go anywhere. We might be back with some more coverage. We'll just go ahead and see. I'll let you guys know. Just a few minutes. Just stick around.